can't hear you.
I had such a smooth intro too. I'm so good. I'm so mad about that. Oh, my teeth look like they went away.
I'm like, I see her talking, but I
I
don't
was
hear
really
the
getting
thing.
it. Let me start over.
Okay, that's
All
fine.
right, we're back again. Part four to why are relationships failing? I have special guest Will the Fresh is in the building. And as I was saying before, I know you have a lot to say. So I'll go ahead and pass the torch on over to you and let you
Nah,
introduce
no, we're
this.
not doing this. No, because this is your setup. You go ahead and you bring it in topic because this is not my
Sure.
stream. This is yours.
Before I do that, I want to talk a little bit about the flyer that you guys saw about pure energy. Now, for those who don't know, I am a sales rep. What that means is that I set you up for appointments for solar. And for the state of Texas, you get that installation for free if you meet the minimum qualifications. So you need to make sure you reach out to me, DM me, or contact me directly at 832-590-0691. In addition to that, I am also a licensed insurance agent and I am happily serving my community. So anyone that you know are in dire need of life coverage or prepaid legal, for instance, I am your girl. Now we can get right into the topic. Now, for people who have been watching us for the last few days, we've been talking about a very heated topic. Why are relationships failing? And as you guys know, it's 2022. A lot of relationships don't last beyond 3 to 5 years. And it's a lot to do with much more than income, right? Has a lot to do with compatibility, has a lot to do with lack of communication, has a lot to do with the lack of immaturity and failure to commit. So those are just a few topics that are pretty superficial as to why relationships fail. Our goal, Will DeFresh and myself, our goal is to really talk about the unfiltered truth about why some of our relationships have failed and how we view other relationships and why they're failing. I mean, it's pretty obvious. So tonight we're gonna talk about. Will, tell us what we're gonna talk about. How we're
No,
gonna talk about this.
I'm not.
Oh,
I'm
that
not
framed it
doing
in
it.
my mind about like jealous partners, but it's deeper than that. Will behind the scenes explained to me that there should be. Let's talk about the difference between giving others too much attention outside of the relationship and knowing when having friends outside of your I don't know situationship or relationship is doing too much, right? But I feel like you had worded it in a different way. That's why I wanted you to.
Yeah, so it's almost like we all know the phrase or the term entertaining. So how much entertaining can be done before it starts to amount a level of jealousy? Like, who are you haha kiki with at work? Your work partner, your work boo, your work hubby, whatever you want to call it. Like, where does it go to where before it crosses the line to where that person is thinking, oh well, I can steal you away from dude, or I can steal you away from her. Like, where is that line that needs to be drawn? So
That's a really good topic, and that's a really good subject matter to discuss. Even going into the relationship with somebody before you decide that you guys want to commit, because it might be that you're an introverted type of individual who just prefers to be you and your partner, no outsiders, no new friends, so to speak. And the person that you're with could be a free spirited individual that doesn't really see anything wrong with communicating with the opposite sex, right? Um,
mhm.
they don't even have time limits, meaning that their friends can call them at 12 a.m. and it's not a problem because they don't view right commitment in the same light. Now, I know exactly, but there's some people out there like that, and there's a lot of relationships that are open like that, right? So let's get into it.
Yeah, let's. So I'll start off. I remember I was in a relationship for 4 years, and the girl I was dating at the time, she was a financial advisor at work at a college. So she worked in finance office. So she was always dealing with people and kids, and she used to tell me every day that this same security guard would come in and almost basically sexually harass her in a way to where she wasn't uncomfortable. She was just like, I don't know how many times I gotta tell you to stop before I say stop. Like he
Oh,
would just comment on her looks excessively. Now, don't get me wrong, was attractive and she still is. So I kind of understand where she was coming from. But it's almost like, how many times do you have to tell a person that you're not interested? How many
mhm.
times do you have to like keep saying, please stop, please leave me alone? Excuse me, we can still be cool. we can be cordial, but when you're like commenting on someone's appearance, there's a line that drawn, and then it's almost on the flip side. It's like when a person knows,
Mhm.
whether it be a man or a woman, that you have someone outside of your work, why does everybody think they can take you away and think they can make the situation better? It's
Yeah,
not always like that, and I don't think that people really seem to grasp. Like I strongly can't string this enough. They don't grasp the idea that if that person's happy, they're happy. There's only
mhm,
so much that, you know, you be in my work booth that I'm going to confide in you. Just because I confide in you every time on lunch does not mean that I want to take you home and sleep with you, whether you be a man or a
facts.
woman. And I say this as a man because at one time I thought I could be that, but then I left that shit alone. I'm like, no, I'm not trying to get involved with that craziness because you never know who is going to pull up on you and
That's right.
whether they shoot you or just whip your ass. You just don't know because
Ooh,
people nowadays are crazy. They
they
really
are.
are.
They are. That's a very valid point that you make, Will, because not too long ago, right here in Houston, Texas, there was a well known global boxer, black male, who was shot and killed just for like going to this restaurant with a friend. Now, she wasn't a girlfriend, she was just a friend, and she was going through a divorce. And I think she was bringing the divorce papers to the ex husband, soon to be ex. The ex husband shot and killed the friend, the boxer. I guess under the assumption that he was the boyfriend. They had no relationship, as far as we know. They had no real relationship going on, and so he was just an innocent bystander, somebody that was going up just to help. Like you said, the work husband, right? It doesn't necessarily mean there's something physical going on, but the ex-husband didn't know that. As far as he knew, it could have been the reason why they were getting a divorce. You know,
Yeah.
so it's you make a very very valid point.
And I say all this because it's almost like I can understand from both ends because like I said, it's like you see that attractive woman that you are interested in, you try to talk to her, you try to be casual and smooth simultaneously, but sometimes that doesn't always work. But then you just like start talking to her as a person rather than just, as a conquest, so to speak.
Yeah,
And then you start knowing, okay, what the boundaries are. But then after a while you almost get comfortable to where like, okay, we can kiki and we can hide up and we can see what's going on. But then, stuff like that you just, expound on, it's going to happen because you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And then on the flip side is like we all know there is jealousy in a relationship, no matter whether it be big or small, because everybody's level is different. Everybody's level of comfort and own self confidence is different. So you could be dealing with someone who has high self confidence and others who's not, and it's almost like you just want to like mitigate it to where you feel as though you want to let them know you ain't got to worry about nothing. I'm not going to be making friends at work. I'm just going there, get a paycheck, and come home. So people just they need to start understanding that you're not going to work to pick up people. You're going to work to work.
that's a good point,
You
man. And
are.
here's the thing: I have a huge pet peeve, and shout out to TMI Tate. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see
What's
what
going
he
on, Mr.
said.
Tate?
I'm jealous because my wife can dance. I'm done. Now we talking about some serious jealousy, but let's talk about this work wife and work husband. It's beneficial in a lot of ways, but then it can be disadvantageous in a lot of ways as well. So on one hand, it's like, all right, it's good to have a work wife or work husband because if you forget your lunch, they're gonna take you to go get food. They might even pay for your food. But the problem happens, like what you mentioned, is when you guys start reaching that gray area where feelings actually start evolving. So one of my pet peeves is that I've never dated anybody that I worked with ever. I mean, not in
Hmm.
college, not in my young adulthood, not in my, when I became older before I got married. Because something about dating somebody that you work with just seems so very disastrous to me. Because you have to get up and go to work every day. This is your bread and butter. If that relationship fails, everybody's in your business moving forward. Everybody knows that Danielle's having a problem with her husband at work. Everybody knows that her husband cheated on her, or whatever the situation or scenario might be, or Danielle was caught flirting with another coworker. People make up stuff when you work together and you're in a relationship. if they don't want you guys to be together, they'll literally try to destroy you guys. So you really have to be. And I'm not trying to deter anyone who may fall in love at work. You cannot predict where you're gonna fall in love with a person. But that's just my personal pet peeve that I've never crossed those boundaries with coworkers, and I've never crossed those boundaries with friends. Like if you're my homeboy, you're really my homeboy. There's no blurring the lines, and I'm calling you brother. But then like tomorrow night we're sleeping together. And I know a lot of people that do that.
Yeah, I think the only time that you should really be falling in love at work is when you pay her $10 at a time. So that's my thing.
Learn with
But
you.
that's just me.
I just
Yes.
feel like work people are off limits, man. I call
Well,
them work people. Work people are off limits. It's already enough stress at work, right?
yeah, there is. And we should, and I'm seeing the comment like Mr. Tate says, a work wife is work with no perks. Yes, that should be it. You should not think that you're gonna, have this work wife and it's going to come with something. It should not. There should not be stipulations. But that's the problem with people. They go into these jobs, especially if you're working in an office or a factory. Like for instance, I know back in Detroit because I'm not there, but between the big three like Chrysler, Ford, and GM, you got niggas upon niggas just going after these women, thinking something's gonna happen while they got their woman there at work. Then they still got their woman at home, and they try to bring the two together as if it's going to work. When we all know it's not going to happen that way. It's
No.
not. I don't get it. I don't understand why
Um,
people think they can have the best of both worlds when sometimes you can't. You picked your wife, you picked her. Stop trying to pick someone else just in case that doesn't work.
That's facts right there. Like people are greedy though. You're like asking why. You don't understand why because people are greedy. They don't even know whether or not it's gonna work, but they're gonna give it a try. They're gonna try. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, they're gonna give it a try, and then next thing you know, they're gonna try seeing themselves in the hospital because they got injured. So keep trying, and you'll end up dead. Just go ahead. Just go ahead.
It's not funny, but it's funny because it's like common sense should tell you not to do these things, but people aren't. That's the thing. So whenever you're trying to hook up with people, you're not using your common sense at that point. You know what I mean? You're using a different part of your brain, and I feel like we have to be aware. Definitely have to be more aware. If you know you're married or in a committed relationship, don't go to your job trying to seek a side piece because it's never going to end well. And then you end up losing your job, and God knows what else might happen. So
Yeah,
words of the
yeah.
wise.
And when it does happen, you just spread the rumor that she was a hoe, she was giving up that sloppy toppy. But then I found out that her pussy smelled like that fish. So
They'll start all kind of insane rumors about people. I'm serious, for real. And you never know who already doesn't like you at work. You're crazy. You already don't know who already doesn't like you at work. And if they find out your shortcomings, and well, that's it. You know what I'm saying? You ruin your reputation, you ruined your job and your I don't know, whatever your title is. I don't know. I've seen it happen and it never ends well. That's all I'm gonna
no,
say.
no, it doesn't, and that's why I think because I've experienced it on both ends that, and we've both said this, that you should never go to work looking for a relationship because it's not going to end well, and then you walk around with this level of shame and almost this title over your head that says don't bother, I have erectile dysfunction.
Everybody's gonna know your business. And look, here's the
Mhm.
thing. Let's talk. We didn't really even talk about the jealousy factor behind this, right? So we at one end of it, we're talking about, hey, dating people at work, not a good idea because when it goes wrong, it's gonna go all the way wrong. The other end of this is just simply dating somebody that has really deep rooted insecurities. That relationship is gonna be rocky as hell. Okay, let me stop. TMI says but some women will claim you as a work husband. All you're gonna be doing is waiting on her hand and foot with you benefiting none. That's true. That's what I was saying earlier. Tate is that having a work husband has its perks because when you don't bring your lunch or you don't have cash on you to get something, your work husband is gonna have your back. But the problem with that is that sometimes people aren't able to decipher the difference between friendship, aka the work husband, and an actual real relationship. More than likely that guy he has feelings for that woman. That's the reason why he's willing to pay for her lunch. That's the reason why he's able to wait on her hand and foot. but the feeling is not mutual. That in most cases, or I'll say in some cases, because I don't really know what people doing nowadays. They doing the most right now.
Well, just ask your husband for a hall pass for like 14 days and see what happens.
Oh no, it's not gonna work. But going back to the jealousy, I'm not even gonna entertain that. But going back to the jealousy factor, there's so many men and women that are jealous. What's Tim? I say you as the work husband might get one lunch a year. Now that's unfortunately that's facts.
That's one
That goes
lunch.
back to episode three.
One lunch.
Episode three, where who has the most weight, men or women? Obviously the men, especially when it comes to paying for things. But like I said, jealousy can make or break relationships all day, Will, because like we read about it all the time. Like
Hmm.
people are dying behind jealousy, you know, like
Yeah,
but
they are dying behind jealousy, but then also these people that are killing these people because of jealousy, it might be because they are insecure themselves. Remember, not everybody is happy. And honestly, not everybody is happy. I was just speaking to someone today, is like we all wake up, we all thinking that we gotta do something, gotta do that. But at the end of the day, we should learn to be happy with ourselves, especially if we get in a relationship. You can't go to someone else and say, I love you, I care about you, I want the world for you, when you don't love and care and want the world for yourself. You can't give somebody something that you don't have. And that, I think that is the problem with people nowadays, is like they're trying to reach for the stars and give everybody else everything that they might want when they don't have it for themselves. So you got to love yourself first. You have
oh,
to
I
be
love
happy.
that.
You have to have a level of security within yourself before you can do anything for anybody else.
Well, I can't really say anything against that. I mean, that's 100% correct. I mean, if you don't have confidence, you don't have self love, it's gonna show. And it's going to end up making your partner miserable as a result, because if they come with the package of knowing who they are, loving themselves wholeheartedly, and here you are questioning everything that they're doing, who they're going to go hang out with, why are they so happy, why do you have that on, like the list just goes on, you know what I mean? Like, because I've dated guys that are hella insecure, and it's draining. It is
Hmm.
mentally draining, and I'm sure the same happens to guys all the time, because women sometimes when we're in love and we haven't been in healthy relationships and we carry a lot of trauma with us, it makes us highly insecure. You know, you may be the best man in the world, but we can't see that if we've been through some type of crazy turbulent relationship. We have
Yeah.
TMI Tate. He says, "I'm so glad God sent my wife, because if it was up to me, I would have picked wrong." At least he's honest.
Yeah, usually men do that. It's called a bitter baby mama. So
Well, why do you think you guys choose the wrong mates originally?
because we always leave with our dicks. We always think about what the sex is like rather than what the person is like, never knowing who the person is beforehand. Because it's more of a level of infatuation rather than a level of explanation. So
Yeah, very good point. Yeah, and I mean that's what makes a lot of us, I would say a lot of women different from guys. Like we look for the same thing, don't get me wrong, but I think our initial impression is like, oh my God, he took me. This is the conversations I hear. Oh my God, he took me out to this really nice restaurant. Oh my God, he got a beautiful hotel and he had like my shoes and my dress and my. We're looking at the things you guys can. Don't get mad. We're looking at the things that you guys can do for us first before we actually look at who this guy really is. And I know that's where we fail, because we're looking at, okay, all of the what do you call it, superficial things that you guys can bring to the table, and also your ability to take care, protect, and lead. And then we get into who you really are, and then by that time it's too late, and then you're just a baby dad,
yeah.
blinded by the booty.
Mhm. You're right. Well, I look at like how can any of that happen, any of it, if I'm just looking just to get my dick wet, like really, like I'm not going out to the clubs looking, for my end all be all perfect wife. If she's out there, that's fine. But then again, it's almost like in a man's mindset, I'm just looking to get on to the next and then move on. I mean, it's different now because as you start to get older and older, you know what you want, how you want it, and then you start having standards. But in some cases, it's like if she looks good enough in the light, she probably looks better in the dark. So
So the question is, at what age do men start taking women seriously, you think?
it's
On
different. It
average.
varies. It really varies because some men don't start taking women until they're like damn near in their 50s, about to die. So
And
it
that's the
really
problem
depends.
right there. That is the number one problem right there. Men take so long just to really set a standard for themselves because all through your 20s, 30s, and 40s, most guys are reckless. They are.
Hmm. Yeah,
And here goes TMI talking about 54. That's way too late, sir. Like
that's a
women,
that sounds like a good whole retirement age right there. So I have to second that one. I really do. That's probably right when I can start collecting my social security checks.
like it's insane that guys really think that this is acceptable. That's crazy. 54, half your life is over. So then we have in Reed that says one thing my dad told me is jealousy is an ugly monster. If I see that a guy is jealous, I need to get away from him.
You
That's
do.
very great sound
You
advice.
really do. Because he'll probably go upside your head with a brick or a belt, and then you'll just be in it for a long haul saying, oh, he didn't mean to beat me. He just got upset one time, and that one time just keeps happening over and over
You
again.
know what's
So,
wild? I know somebody who said they whipped their girlfriend with a belt. These are two grown adults. And I thought that was the craziest thing I'd ever heard in my life.
who the fuck
That's
is whipping
wild.
people with belts? And you're grown.
That is the I mean, two grown adults. What's going on? Who's by showing hands out here? That's the ones that are listening. Who's got whipped by a belt by your significant other? That's insane. What are you guys doing? And I'm not talking about on some freaky stuff. I'm talking about like seriously, your guy is upset and he whips you with the belt like you're his child.
Well,
I'm gonna need y'all to get it together. Rose says it takes a lot of patience and a special someone to date someone with insecurity issues.
yeah, it's called having a mental disability.
Yeah, because I'm not dating anybody with insecurity issues, me personally. Now, don't get me wrong, Rose. If somebody has issues from past trauma, I get it, but I'm not the one for you. Like I'm way too uncut and raw and direct to be with somebody who's scorned. I know me.
Hmm. And
So
especially we as adults, we know we have a level of integrity and, like you said, a level of patience. And if they're insecure, if you know from the first couple of dates, then you need to stop dealing with them. There is, and I hate using this word, I even hate using it myself. No one has that much potential to have so much insecurity that you still want to deal with them. So you should not be. That is a red flag right there. That really is. If they got insecurities from the start, exit stage left, boo boo. Exit stage left.
I'm telling you, because nobody has time for that. That's way too much stress. TMI says after a few bad relationships, I was ready. He's talking about I wish, sir, 54, sir. That is way like no. That is so after the fact. Like women can't, a lot of women can't even have kids like after 40. A lot of them. Now, there's a few people I've seen pop a baby out 45, 48. But sir, 54, I'm gonna
I
need you
mean,
to
well,
show.
us men can still have kids up until
I
we're
know
like
you guys can.
90. So, yeah, we
Yeah,
can always find some young tenderoni.
that's
So,
true.
hmm.
And that's really what most people do. Most men, they end up doing
Yep.
it. Like there's this article floating around by this guy who's like I think he's like 54 and he just married his fiance. She's like 23 and they've been dating for 5 years and people start doing the math. They're like, wait a minute, so he met her when she was 18. I'm like, okay, she was grown. I get it, but he did exactly what you just said, Will. You know,
But how grown was she? It's like her mentality though. Like, was she a mature minded 18-year-old, or was
probably
she
not.
still some kid? So,
Probably not, because most people are just kids at 18. That's the point. Like, think
mhm.
about it. You haven't even experienced life yet. Most people,
No,
I'll say, most people have not experienced
no.
life yet. I don't know her personally, so I don't know. Can't speak for her. She says,
Oh,
I was 25. Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, come on, Tate. 54? Now, come on. That's
okay.
out.
So, Tate, I want to ask you, like, did you marry your wife at 25, or did you wait a couple years to like get to know her before you actually popped the question? Because you got people out here that are in relationships, and I was can't believe this. Like, even white people, they'll be together for like 4 or 5 years, get engaged for another two, and then they'll be married. That's damn near almost 10 years together before you say, "Oh, I'm finally ready to like be with her." And then that's another thing I don't understand, why you need to have so many years with a person before you know. Because we really take people's good years away while we're out here trying to figure out what we want.
I mean, that's a really valid statement that you made, but I totally get why people take their time too. Because like you don't really know that person until you are literally living with them, right? Day in and day out. And even sometimes when you do that, you still don't know who you're with, if that makes sense. So on
Mhm.
one end of it, I get it. I get why you want to take your time and be meticulous and very careful. But at the same time, don't be so careful and take so long that you're being selfish. And like you said, take away people's prime time. So let's see if TMI answered your question about. So he says he's married at
Man,
25. This
okay.
month makes 22 years.
Okay. Okay. That's black love right there. That is.
It
That
is.
is. That is.
She said
I'm
that's
I'm
crazy.
I'm guessing it's black love, but
22 years is a whole lifetime for some
it
people.
is. That's like dog years right there. So
So 4 times as long as what the average marriage is. It used to be 7 years. I think it's trickling down to like 5. People just aren't getting along anymore. You know, people's egos, jealousy, right? Lack of commitment.
and all of that is a credit to social media. Social media has made it to where it's like chicken. It goes bad after a couple days once you leave it out. So if you don't cook it right then and there, if you don't take care of it, like the statement says, if you don't take care of your chicken, then it's just going to spoil. And that's what a lot of people is not doing. They just figure they can just go back to the market and get another pack of chicken. And I'm not using poultry like this, but it's it's just a nice way for you to understand. Like, we'll go get that packet of chicken that's like 10.97, and then we'll see another one that's like eight something. It's like, think, oh, we got a deal. So it's just like sometimes we just don't see the value in people that we're supposed to.
Yeah, and in Reed, she says men are ready when they borderline can't fully care for themselves. Ooh, I would say 54, do it. 54, you got about 10 years away from probably wearing Depends. That's a very valid point. You need somebody to wipe your butt and pull that Depend up for you. Like, and that's the part that sucks. You know what I'm saying? Because you think about it, how many men or women have you damaged in your 54 years before you decide that you want to settle down? Like, how unfair is that?
Hey, it's not unfair because once I get my social security check, I'll just fall in love with my nurse's aide. So it'd be like a 2 for 1.
Well, I'm done with you. Oh my God. He says best part about it is we like each other. Very important. So he's saying after 22 years, they still like each other. That's important. You know how you
Mhm.
can love somebody, but you don't really like them because they're aggravating, they get on your nerves, but you'll literally die for them. Some people are in those type of marriages or in those type of committed relationships. Well, he's saying that he actually likes his wife and they've been going at it for 22 years. That's incredible. Tell us what your secret is. It's 22 years, like I said, is a very long time, like a very
Mhm.
long
And where'd you find her at? So I can go myself and find one. So
time. Will is serious too, Tate. So let them know.
I mean, yes, I'm serious. I'm serious in ways because we all know we get up there. We are getting older. We're not getting younger, but we're getting wiser as we're getting older. And it's just like you
Some of us,
want
not
to.
all of us.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna look like this until I die, so I'll look 17 forever, basically. But still, in a nutshell, it's just like you just want to be able to find that one, like you said, that you can like and love simultaneously, and it's hard doing that. We become more infatuated rather than becoming more uh interested than anything.
That's a good point. I guess I'm not really liking the fact that men are taking so long to like really get their minds together and settle down. Tate was an exception. He settled down at 25, but we know today's men at 25, right now they're at a pool party somewhere in Houston. Where are you at? You're in New York, right?
Yeah, I'm in New York.
Yeah, they're out on rooftops partying it up right now. They're not thinking about settling down. So it's like you have a lot of women that are in that age group, 25 to like 29. They're in for women, that's our prime in terms of the time frame that we want to have kids, we want to find that person that we can depend on. But it's like the pool isn't really there right now, right?
Mhm.
We're
It
missing each
no
other.
no see it was, and I have to say this, and even though he was very controversial, what Cam was saying, he says like your SMV it declines each and every year into your mid 20s. Like once you get to your 30s, it's all gone from there because what man is going to want you, especially if they want to build a legacy, have a sustaining legacy. So if like you said, if you're not married, if you don't have kids by the time you're 30, then it's not over technically, but it kind of is because what man is going to want you if you're not going to be able to produce at a rate that he would like it to be.
Oh, now this is the controversy I was waiting for. Will, you just now warming up? We 30 minutes in. All right, so let's talk about that. So let's talk about that. Here's the thing, right? There's a lot of financially, physical, spiritual, and mentally viable women over the age of 30. Let's not get that twisted. Contrary to what you and Mr. KS has said in the past. Without kids, too. We talking about prime time. Hey, prime beef, okay? Prime beef.
Yeah.
Stop saying
Okay.
filet mignon at the finest. So,
Okay.
and they're making grade A salaries. So
Uh-huh.
that's not always the case, as we know, for every single person, but they still find it, the prime beef I'm talking about still find it very hard. We talking about the upper echelons, people that's making $200,000-$300,000 a year. These women are finding it hard to find a significant other, not because they're older and they can't meet this guy halfway. They can absolutely do that. Most cases is because the guy isn't mentally and mature wise. He's not ready for that. A lot of men aren't at
And you're
in
right.
30s.
Yes, and a lot of men might not be. They might not be, and that's true. And that's true. But you still have those ones too who are ready. But you have these women who don't want to let the reins go. You don't want to let a man be a man in a relationship because any woman says they like to be courted, they like to be chased. But once you're chased, once you're pursued in the way you want to, and you say you're falling for this guy, you still don't want to give up the masculine to switch over to the feminine to where a woman can be a woman with a man who says, I got you, don't worry. Regardless if he's below you in career earnings, career standings, or what it might be, it is still a man at the end of the day. So you just have these women out here that are not being as submissive, not fully submissive. No, we're not talking about that, but being submissive in a way to where you'll let a man be a man. And that's the problem. That's why you have so many career minded women that are almost ending up into their 40s, 50s with cats and they're dying alone with this abundance of earnings that they've earned from, their rise in the corporate world to whereas now it's like, oh, I can't find nobody. Now I'm just gonna go on Tinder, start swiping left and right, and you'll end up with the same man that you couldn't end up if you would have went to the bar.
Here's the thing where I gotta like pause you on. Great, listen, that was a great rebuttal. Let me just put that out there. But here's the thing about the comment that you made, that there's a lot of women who don't want to like back down, kind of like, hey, you've been a leader, you've been riding this horse. Get off of this. Is not a conversation for you, ma'am. You've been riding this horse, and you've been making this great money, and you get with this guy who loves you and wants to be there for you, and now you're with him and he's providing, he's meeting you halfway as best he can. Here's the thing, this is where men and women, we don't understand each other. Women shouldn't have to be submissive because a partnership is 100% and 100% coming together. And if you guys are true partners, you'll understand the importance of sharing responsibilities within the household in terms of conversation and respecting each other. Sorry about that, y'all. Respecting each other. And you will do what it takes in order to make sure that that's a balanced relationship. Now, when men come at women who have been used to paying their own bills, taking care of their own taxes, buying their own vehicles, opening up their own businesses, it's very difficult to allow a man to come into your household and tell, I'm done with you. It's very difficult to see, and this is why men and women don't get along.
No,
Anyways,
I'm playing.
it's very it's very difficult to allow a man to come in and tell you what to do now when you've been so used to doing it. But on the flip side of that coin, you have to compromise. Don't compromise to the point where you let this person run you off the cliff either, though, right? So if the
Right.
man is capable of leading, I don't think there's any woman out there who doesn't mind, putting her shoes up on the footstool and resting her mind. But if she's with a person who she can't do that with, then 9 times out of 10, the relationship's not going to work and she's never going to trust him to lead. I think that's where the problem really comes in a lot of times in relationships.
Yeah, but then it almost comes down to the two C's that are very, very viable in a relationship. compromise and conversation. Having a conversation so you can be able to compromise and know what can be dealt with and what cannot be dealt with. So like I said, you're not fully being submissive to that person. You're just being submissive in a way to where you're able to open yourself up, allow that person to see you for who you are, not just this hardened shell that you put up for everybody else. Because we all know everybody, whether it be men or women, we all have that soft side to us. It just takes that person to know what it is and what it takes to get there. And once you finally get there, then it's like magic. Of course, I can say I know it might have took a while for you and your husband to really know each other, and but then once it happened, then it's like, okay, I'm comfortable with you, you're comfortable with I. We have no problems. Yes, you have problems, but not those type of problems. And all I'm saying is, women, they want everything. They want the career and the family. But if they can be able to get both, they're not willing to do it because they don't want to have compromise and conversations.
And here's the thing, you're saying it right, right? The way you're going about it is the right way, but there's a lot of men that don't know how to go about it in the way that you're describing it. And that's the problem. So there's gonna be and men women alike, right? Men and women alike. There's gonna be so many men that come into a relationship and want to automatically dominate with no experience and no understanding of what they're even stepping into with this woman. Women are not made the way they used to be, meaning women are not just staying at home having kids. Women are now entrepreneurs making money. You can go ahead and play your violin. You look like you're getting sleepy, Will. Anyways, but seriously, women are just not made the way they used to be. So yeah, communication is key. Just like I just see Dillinger, he's saying that, and I'm laughing at Tate saying that women are managers at work and they come on trying to manage the house. So Tate, let's go to that comment. Let's be honest. Most women do manage their homes. They manage the children. They make sure that the husbands have what they need. Most women. There's some that don't. I lack in some areas sometimes too because I have a lot of things that are going on in my direct personal business. It just depends on what your situation is. Nobody's gonna be perfect, but I do like what you said there, Tate. Sometimes, and even men, you guys do this too. You get caught up in your jobs at work, and then you come at home with the same attitude. We all, men and women, have to learn how to shell out the emotion, the stress that we're dealing with at work before we enter our home with our family. So that's a very good point that you made.
And please go to Rose's comment, please, and bring that up because I would love to answer that one.
Mhm.
And I want to say this personally. I want to say no because I've dealt with older women when I was younger. When I was like 24, I would run after older women who was like in their 40s, mid 40s. So I want to say no. It's all about having a mindset. You don't have to be intimidated by someone. It's just more about how you carry yourself, what the conversation is, how um how confident are you within yourself by approaching whether she is a woman of your age or a woman of someone else. It's all about the approach. It's about the conversation. And I want to say for me personally, no, I don't. I have never been intimidated by older women because I can always know I can learn something from that older woman that a younger woman could not teach me, could not tell me. So it really falls on the person themselves and not just the people collectively. I want to say.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't know why Rose asked that, but if I could guess, Rose, and you tell me if I'm wrong, it's probably because she's probably dated a younger guy and she's probably dealt with some unnecessary insecurity from that guy. And you being older, the first assumption is that, oh, maybe because I'm older, I'm a little more experienced, maybe he's just intimidated. So I can see where that question will come into play. And Tate says, okay, then they need to manage their tone, right? Tone is everything, right? I don't think people really realize that in relationships, even with business client relationships, your tone can either make or break the deal, honestly. So we definitely need to be aware of that, even though I know he was joking. But on a serious note, that's actually facts. Also, Tate says being open and honest of our expectation, sorry, of the relationship from the very beginning is a secret. Yeah, that's facts. Also, putting the shoe on the other foot before doing something stupid. See, and that's the thing. Most people who aren't empaths, like serial empaths, they're incapable of putting the shoe on the other foot because they're just not used to thinking out of them, but beyond themselves is what I'm saying. Doesn't
Mhm.
make them a narcissist because we throw that word around too much. It's just that some people haven't been challenged to actually think about how other people's feelings in general. That's
Yeah.
all.
And that's one of the things is like we're not challenging ourselves and we're not learning, we're not growing. We all need to be challenged in some type of way to where we can have some type of experiences, because not everybody can tell you everything. You got to be able to learn it on your own. That's how you build things in this world, by having mistakes previously to learning okay what to do and what not to do. And I always want to be like Mr. Tate by being with someone for 22 years, because I'm pretty sure that he's made mistakes, him and his wife both, but they both learned together. And that's what it's all about, just being able to be with someone and learn and grow. And it's hard nowadays because you can't learn and grow with someone. Everybody wants you to be built automatically, just perfectly from head to toe, no flaws and all, like nothing. But we all know that's just not going to happen. It's really not.
Now, that's a very, very good point that you just made. Like, nobody's perfect. And I think a lot of people are running around looking for that perfect person, but you'll literally never find it. Relationships actually take work. And marriage, that's a whole nother level of work, because it's some days that you're not going to even want to sleep in the same bed as that person, but you still love them just because you guys aren't seeing eye to eye in that moment. But you have to be mature enough to get past it and see each other another day. If you're the type of person that just thinks everything is your way or the highway, it's not gonna last.
I
That
mean,
fight, that
I
money.
know one thing. If we're not sleeping in the bed, I know for damn sure if I paid for that bed, I'm sleeping in the bed. You go sleep on the couch. So
That's a fair trade off. Dylan just says you're going to a lot. You're gonna make a lot of mistakes until you get it right. Are all flawed? Wait, I think he's saying we are all flawed in so many ways. That's true. You can't. There's no perfect relationship. Let's look at all the relationships that we've idolized over the years, especially when it comes to these celebrities. Like Will said to me before, celebrities aren't real people, like because they don't have real people issues because they have so much money.
no, they don't, because they got money. You can't tell me, and I swear to God, you cannot tell me that you can see a real couple out here that got real relationship issues that you and I have. No, we
They
have
do.
no,
I'm about to list them.
we have broke people relationship issues.
We have
Broke
that
people.
too. But listen, these celebrities have real life human issues as well. Let's take Will Smith for an example, right?
Oh
Will
God,
Smith
you just had to go with that one.
I had to.
Okay,
He's the first one
okay,
because he's the most.
yep.
He's like bright red and shining. This guy has issues, and it's because of his relationship with his family and with his wife. And it is not the kids when I say family, when who he was raised by, plus his wife. It is so apparent that Jada Pinkett Smith married this man, and she really didn't want to. And this is the reason why Will Smith's security has been damaged. He's a highly insecure man. And with that being said, it has made him make some really stupid decisions. Now, will that put him in a hole for life? Of course not. A lot of people love this guy, but I'm using him as a real person, a real celebrity who has real relationship issues, and everybody knows it. No red table talk can make convince me otherwise. That relationship is all kinds of jacked up, but I wish them well. Let's go on to the next celebrity. We have Beyonce and Jay Z. Jay Z was cheating on her since the beginning of time. And this girl popped out 3 kids by him anyway. Because why? They are wealthy, they have money. And these are issues that she can get past because they're so freaking wealthy. If he was broke, it's not a chance in hell that she would have, well, maybe she still would have had the 3 kids, but they probably 9 times out of 10 would not still be together. This girl has written song after songs about him and his infidelity. So they very much are regular people, not regular. That part's that's a lie. They are people with a lot of money. They still have the same issues that you and I have in our day-to-day relationships. It's just that it's not taken to heart because they're not broke like us.
I mean, I have a couple, Ray and Stacy.
What's that?
Yeah, I have a couple, Ray and Stacy.
Okay, explain. Who are these
Yeah,
people?
we don't know who Ray and Stacy are because they're everyday fucking people. So who cares?
I can't stand you, Will. All right, moving on. Rose says the worst part about being married is if or when y'all outgrow each other. I was married for 14 years. Now, you're always, in my opinion, always gonna not outgrow each other always, but you're both growing. And I think the whole goal is to grow and be able to unite some of those commonalities and really make something out of your marriage, right? maybe Rose, you're an artist, right? And you want to learn how to start selling your paintings and art in the art museum, and your husband is this mechanic, and one day he wants to open up his mechanic shop. You guys have two totally opposing visions, but somewhere in there you're going to have a strength that he needs, which is his weakness, and vice versa. So marriage is all about filling the gaps, the holes, right, and making each other whole. Then Reese laughing at us. Oh yeah, another one. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Man, that case was hilarious. Hey guys, by the way, I have a reel on my wall that has over 460,000 views, all because of the court case. But Dillinger, to your point, that is a very good point. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, they were psych. Well, she was psycho. Do you remember anything about that case?
Yeah, I remember. And I always, when I interview people, I always like to have my intro, forgive it or fuck it. I would like to say I want to forgive Johnny Depp because of him. He really showed the world how crazy white women are that we've been saying for years upon years. It's basically like in the trial when this bitch took a shit on the bed. That was just a level of fuckery that you could just never
You
imagine.
can't make
Like
this up, man. You
like
just make
yes,
it up.
who's going to defecate in a bed and just be like, yeah, that happened. What you gonna do, nigga? What
And
you
then
gonna
she
do?
blamed it on the dog. Did you
Yeah,
see
yeah.
that?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Like you can't blame that big pile of shit on a little ass dog. Like, come on now, oh, get it together.
Not you taking a sip of your Arizona tea after cursing poor Amber Heard out. Listen, I don't know what they went through, but I know I watched some of the case and she was lying a lot for no reason at all. And it was embarrassing. I'm like, dang. So for all the women who actually are going through DV, you are gonna make it a little bit harder for them to be believable because you sit here and drag this lie out into court. And I mean, it's made millions of views, and she still ended up having to shell out over $10 million.
Yep.
And I don't even think she can pay it, which is sad. So it's like,
Or
don't. Oh, go
or
ahead.
she could have went the thin line between love and hate world to where she got a couple oranges and just beat the shit out of herself. So
She tried that. Remember, she tried that. She tried
I
it,
know.
but they didn't approve her picture because they proved that it was a filter that she put on herself.
Hmm.
That case was crazy. That was
Definitely.
wild.
Yep.
Oh my god. But anyways, y'all, we went way past the time frame. We're
No, we
almost going.
didn't. No, we
Yeah.
didn't.
Oh, we
No,
didn't. We
no.
needed this. We needed
We're,
this.
we're, we're not on a time frame. We're talking about serious things here. We're
Yeah.
talking about relationships. And in those relationships, jealousy. Like jealousy is a thing. We all get jealous in some ways, no matter how big or how small. But when it comes down to it, it's like between men and women, like you have to have a level of security with yourself before you start thinking someone else is doing something they're not supposed to. Because we all know at the end of the day, your woman or your man is going to work doing what's supposed to. But if someone is pushing on them and they come to you and say, yeah, someone's trying to flirt with me, but don't worry, I got this. And if they're making that type of statement, then maybe sometimes you need to investigate because some people just can't take no for an answer. And then also on the flip side is you can't ha ha and kiki with everybody. You really can't because everybody has ill intentions. No matter how good or how pure they seem, someone is trying to smash someone. It's definitely going to happen.
No,
So we
that's a
have to
big
be
fact.
we have to be real as people when we say I'm not interested. I don't want nothing to do with you. I got who I want at home waiting on me, and vice
Now,
versa.
how often can a man really do that?
It's I mean, I know the temptation is out there. It's happened. I mean, it's happened to
That
me.
answer sure
But
was it. You're
yes,
breathing hard.
yes, yeah. But you have to be real with yourself. You have to say, is it really worth it? Is this piece of ass worth you going through all this turmoil and all this jealousy that I gotta go through at home? And at the end of the day, you just have to say, no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm really not.
Mhm. Oh, thank you, Sherry, for tuning in. We're gonna keep this series going as long as we can because we're just over here talking about unfiltered truths about why relationships are failing. We've all went through some of what we've talked about on this show so far, and we're in episode 4. So we want to thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, and share. But getting back to this topic of jealousy, like Dillinger said, jealousy is real, and jealousy will make you hurt people. It will make you act a fool. It will make you lose your job. It will make you kill people. So we really have to make sure we get our emotions under control. And that's easier said than done, right? when you're in the heat of the moment and you find out your significant other is being unfaithful and untrustworthy, it takes everything in your soul for some people to not lash out.
Yeah, it does. But then you also have to think of a flip side. Is it worth it? Is your jealousy worth losing the rest of your life because you can't get your emotions in check? And I know we all as black people, yes, people, I'm black for those who trying to look
Trying to
confused,
figure
but
you
yes,
out.
yes, I'm black. But we as black people, we all know we got some type of anger issues. It don't matter how big or how little, but you have to keep it in check. You have to remember that hoe or that nigga is not worth it. It's not. You got to keep your emotions checked. And I'm trying to be like Mr. Tate over here, who's been married for 25, well, 20 years, over 20
22.
years,
22.
22. So remember, people, it is not worth it. That little bit of jealousy is not worth the rest of your life behind bars or even dead. You got to keep it in check.
Very, very important advice that Will just gave you guys. Emotions will make you do things you didn't think you'll do, but you have to check yourself every time you do.
Mm-hmm.
Full check mode.
Yes.
Like if you need
Mm-hmm.
to walk away, walk away. If you need to pick up the phone and call a friend and just curse, just to vent, do that. But yeah, think twice. Think twice before you put yourself and your freedom in jeopardy. And so many
Yep.
people will lose their lives because
Yep,
of that.
definitely. And then like walk your ass down to the liquor store. I'm sure there's a crackhead who just stop you right in your midst and you forget all about it. So
Don't listen to Will on that part. Anyways, guys, we want to thank you so much for tuning into the fourth episode of Why Do Relationships Fail. I want to thank everybody who's left a comment, who's shouted us out. We really do appreciate it. And we hope that you liked the show tonight. And if you did, make sure you comment some more, and make sure you share this video. Share, share, share. Also, make
mhm.
sure you subscribe to Will's YouTube channel. It's screaming right across the screen down below. You can see
That's
it right
right,
there.
people. That's right. Sarcasm and orgasms. Yes, the name. The name is not what you think. Go over to my channel. Check me out. I just did a video about true stories. Go check this girl out. So follow me everywhere, and I will always come back to Sister Talks. I thank everybody for tuning in, listening, and watching me give my stupid, hilarious comments. But it's in a way to where it's thought provoking and it makes you think. So make sure you check me out on all podcasts at Sarcasm and Orgasms.
Awesome, guys. So we will see you again for the final EP to this topic. I say final, but it may not be.
No, I won't.
Episode
No.
5, more than likely it won't, because there's so much we can talk about. But guys, until the next time we meet again, we will see you, and we are out. Have a
Bye,
good night.
everybody. Peace.